Castle, Rook and Dock are all getting an ACOG in the next season of Rainbow Six Siege. Today we're going to break it down in the 6 news roundup. So let's start with the entire rework of the sights. So this is almost going back to the way it was before. And when I say before, that is many years ago. So they're ditching the 1.5x sight, but not only that, the 2x and the 3x are also changing. So what you're going to have is 1x sights, 2.5x sights, and 3.5x sights. And right now you've got the 1x sights, the 1.5, the 2, and the 3. So all of them but the 1x have changed in their magnification numbers. So yeah, let's run through who's getting ACOG on defense. So Aruni is getting it on the MK14. Zami is getting it on her slug firing shotgun. Castle is getting it on the UMP. That one has been long requested. Doc is getting it on his MP5 and Rook is getting it on his P90. Frost is getting it on her C9. Goyu is getting it on his Vector and his slug firing shotgun. Kairi is getting his slug firing shotgun. Malusi is getting it on her MP5. Chanka is getting it on his SMG. Thorn is getting it on her SMG. Tubero is getting it on his AR-15. Vigio is getting it on the Boss G, and Wamai is getting it on the MP5K. Now this is not the only change to the sights. There's basically an entire rework to the sights here. So iron sights are going to have a 10% faster ADS speed if you decide to use them. For instance, Bandit has some of the best iron sights in the game, so well worth it. And if you've got the 1X, you're going to have 5% ADS speed. Now, why the reason there's these buffs to the different stuff is because ADS is getting slowed down significantly. And this is hopefully to kind of combat the TDM meta, the run and gun. We've also got our actual reason to use the laser is going to make ADS 15% faster. So I imagine that most people will start running the laser. Then we're going to have changes to grip. So we've got the Anglo grip, which now improves reload speed by 20%. So significant. And this makes me think they're going to try and probably play around with these attachments even more by giving them all kinds of different little perks and stuff. Then the vertical grip, it continues to just reduce recoil, doesn't do anything else. The new horizontal grip increases movement speed. Now this is one I'm going to have to sit down and actually play around with, because does that make your overall character faster, or is it when you're ADSing that you move faster? Going to have to check that out. But of course, putting that grip on means that you are no longer going to get any reduction in recoil for your weapon. So be interesting to see who runs that. Up next is the revamped shield mechanics. We've seen this in the test server just a few weeks ago. It is going to be coming with the launch of the new season, so expect to see a lot of shields run around. No additional shields have been given to any other operators though, so it is just the ones we currently have. Now let's talk some operator balancing. So we've got Azami. Her K-bar barriers can now be shot and destroyed. However, it's like 30 bullets to do it. So you're going to dump a mag into this. So that means little peek holes and stuff are still going to be totally powerful and useful, but it does mean that players do have something to actually fight back that isn't just explosives. And that's what we know so far about operator balancing. There's probably going to be a lot more that hasn't yet been announced. This is just the big one. Then we've got LMGs. They're being reworked, or maybe I shouldn't say reworked. They're getting changed again. They've gone through multiple changes over the years. So they're going to have overall decrease in recoil. And there's going to be a 10% movement speed decrease from them. Again, this is kind of going into the stuff with the attachments. They're messing around here with giving stuff little buffs or nerfs when you've got it equipped, like it's a MMO or something like that. So I'm curious to see where this is going to go, if this is the start of a whole new way of balancing where they're going to tweak operator speeds with certain guns or attachments or whatever. But let's now move on to cosmetics. So we're going to have a new cosmetic management locker. It's going to just be a perfect place to go and check out all your cosmetics, and you can favorite stuff, you can organize stuff by different categories. It is just basically really, really good, and this should be great. And I can tell you, this is actually only the start of some in-game stuff that you're going to be able to do, and there'll be more announced pretty soon. So let's talk about player protection. There's now some new ranked restrictions. You're going to have to get to a certain level as usual, but also you need to unlock 10 defenders and 10 attackers to play ranked. Now that's going to be quite easy to do. There's a lot of very cheap operators to pick up for renowned, but obviously it does mean that you're going to have to get in there, play a bunch, and unlock those operators. They're also going to make it so that if you're away, let's say you go away for a year and you come back, of course, everything's different. So there's going to be an inactive penalty, what we call it, where you just have to go play some casual or standard for a while, and then you will unlock ranked again. Because there is the problem that people come back and they jump straight into ranked, and then of course they piss their teammates off by not knowing some of the basic stuff that's changed. And it's something like winning 5 matches or something like that. It's pretty easy to get, so it's not going to be a huge problem. But obviously you're not going to learn all the changes in just those games, but maybe you'll learn enough to get back into it. Now let's talk some new ranked rewards. So there's going to be a new helmet that you unlock when you reach gold next season, and I presume you still get it at the end of the season, but this is something you can wear and show off that you've reached that rank. Eventually there'll be one of these for every single rank, and it might end up being like Extraction where you unlock them one season, you get to then use them for the rest of the next season, and then they go away unless you attain the same rank that you did before. But that's a pure guess. Right now they're just adding this one helmet in and you get it for gold, but it is going to expand to more in the future. Now let's talk about a new HUD element that's getting added into the game. This is toggleable, you can switch it on or off, but it's going to show you the projected line for your grenades, your smokes, your flashes, or even your gadget that you throw, and also your drone, so that you can see exactly where it's going to go, if it's going to hit something on the way in or something like that. Sometimes I do throw a drone at a window and it misses and I end up hitting off the wall and it annoys me. So with this system I could then make sure that every single time I perfectly get it through the window. But I think I'll switch it off. It looks a little bit over the top for me, but either way it is really freaking cool. And for new players or players who just have trouble with their throws, this is going to be excellent. Then you've got the AI playlist. So this is getting updated. You're going to have Oregon, Consulate back, Chalet and Cafe being added, and 2 new operators, Melusi and Alibi. And of course those operators are being played by the AI. I can also tell you they're going to have new attackers that you can play as well. Now the other thing is they've improved the AI too, so they should be more difficult and hopefully more human-like. So looking forward to yet again checking this playlist out. I'm very much in on it right now. Don't play it myself, but I love the technology and it does seem to be kind of cool. They're also adding new maps to Map Run, so there's going to be Night Haven, Skyscraper, Border and Coastline. And then we've got a brand new elite that was released with the reveal, so you can go pick that up right now, and that is an elite for Ying. Now I guess we should talk about the new operator DMS, so a bad guy, like full on bad guy, not back in time in Rainbow guy. This is legit bad guy as a playable character. Now he's not part of Team Rainbow, he's also got his own individual squad, which is the Cares Legion, and I don't know if that means we might get more for that squad in the future and how that might play out. But let's go through his ability and his loadout. So he's got the Death Mark ability. This is tiny little drones that you send off and they go and they just watch a defender and ping that location straight back to DMS. But the twist is DMS also pings his own location to that defender, and it's just between him and the defender. No one else gets these pings, so you are just kind of saying 1v1 me bro, and it's interesting. It could be a very aggressive operator, but you can also just do this from outside the map, and as a result you can see the ping, pass that information over to your teammates and say, oh, this guy's on a certain level and he's roughly in this location, and then the team can go after him. He's also got the limitation of his Magnum, that is the only weapon that can be equipped when his ability is active, and although it is extremely deadly, it does only have 6 rounds, but it is deadly, as it'll kill a player in 2 shots to the chest. Now it also has very limited recoil. I'm curious if they'll try and nerf this or whatever in the future. My big issue is, of course, if you nerf it and it's got 6 rounds, it's going to quickly become rubbish. So this is going to be a tough one, I think, to balance, and we'll see how it plays out. He's also got the AK-74M for his primary, but no zoom optics on that, only 1x's. And unfortunately the Magnum has a really beautiful scope magnification, but no option for iron sights, which I would honestly prefer on the Magnum, and then have actually some zoom optics on the AK. Or at least the option to take the scope off the Magnum, which is called the Vendetta, or the Harry Destroyer 5000. He's also equipped with frag grenades and the hard breach charge. I think he'll lose the hard breach charge at some point though. And then overall for me, I'm not a big fan of DMS, but I think he's going to be a 10 out of 10 for a lot of players. Maybe even the majority of the player base will end up loving him. So I'm curious to see how it will go. I've literally had 3 hours with him. Normally back home I would get to play him a lot more, at least a couple of days. With this, I've only seen him for a little bit, and of course it's very hard to judge exactly how this is going to play out. So the test server will be out very soon, and we can properly figure out how good this guy is going to be. Oh yeah, and we have a launch date for Operation Deadly Omen. It is launching March 12th. That is a 2-week test server. Now we have seen in the past that 2-week test servers have become 3-week test servers, so it's possible this may take a little bit longer if there is any delays. But right now it is locked in to be March 12th, and hopefully that will end up being the release date. Anyway guys, let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you next time.